Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the People's Real Estate Podcast.
Let go.
Yeah. So we haven't filmed the episode in a while.
Oh, yeah?
So
Doesn't feel
this
like that
is, last time we had Steve on. But this episode is going to be a good one. So before we get into anything, joining me today is my co-host, Renee Guzman Iglesias.
Yeah.
And, of course, Alvin, the lender. Everybody knows Alvin. He's not new to the podcast. We've had him on a couple of times. Fellas, how are you? How you been? What's new? How's life?
So
had a birthday party.
Thank
man.
you first off for inviting me over for the podcast again. I'm glad to be back. I think the last time I was here, I want to say was back in November, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Was it?
I want to say. I was back in
No,
November.
I think it was.
Sooner than that.
Was it?
I don't know. We would have to go fact check.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, but it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Welcome back, Albinito.
Thank you. So, trying to deal with this, rain that's been going on up and down. I keep checking my phone and, it says sunny and then all of a sudden it starts raining. So ruins plans here and there, but, I
gotta keep a whole wardrobe in my car for all conditions.
Hey, this is kind of gonna derail everything, but let me ask you guys this because, I'm gonna put myself out there. So I didn't know. Did you know? Like when you look at the rain predictions, do you know what that means? The percentage?
I always thought it was like.
Did you know this?
I know where you're going.
Area.
I don't know how to explain it though.
Is it like how the area that it's covering, or something like that?
Okay, so this is what I thought. I thought when you saw a percentage, that was like the probability that there will be rain.
Yeah.
And it's not that. I recently learned. That no, it's. How much of your area is expected to get rain? You see what I'm saying? So 80% of your area is expected to get rain. You see what I'm saying? Or 40% of your area is, you know what I mean? It's not a 40% chance of rain.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I
hope that's what it is. I mean, that's what someone
That's how
told me.
they say it, though.
Yeah, there's a
that's how they
40%
say
chance of rain.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
that's how they announce it, and at least
if anybody knows more about this subject, maybe you're a meteorologist. Let us know. I trusted someone at their word that's what it is, but now I'm going back. I'm like, maybe they were lying.
Okay, what's your source?
I can't disclose it.
I'll tell you guys. It was TikTok.
If the person is wrong, I don't want to embarrass them.
I saw the same video. It was on TikTok.
Oh, it was a TikTok video?
Yeah,
okay.
I saw it on TikTok.
Okay.
Somebody was like,
okay, so now I definitely don't believe none of that
TikTok.
stuff. I got to go check it now.
"Nah, I believe it." If I saw it on TikTok,
China
I believe it.
news.
So what are we talking about today, man?
Oh, back to
I
the
told you I was
topic.
going to derail us.
Yeah,
man.
no, back to the topic. We were looking at the average household income. A big topic right now is affordability.
Affordability in real
with
estate,
interest
yeah.
rates being so high, and not so high, but a little bit higher than what people are used to, right?
Yeah.
People got used to that pandemic interest rate,
Yeah,
which
high compared to like those low rates that we saw about 4 or 5 years ago.
But that brings up the question of affordability a lot. So we decided to, film an episode around what, different levels of income gets you in our state of Maryland. So we came up with a couple scenarios, and we're gonna break those down. And just fun fact, if you guys don't know, that average household income, is it household income?
It's average salary.
Average salary
In the state of Maryland.
In the state of Maryland is $70K.
Yeah, 67
About
to 72K.
Okay, so which we were shocked. We took a guess at it.
Yeah,
and
I was in the 40s because nationally I think it's like in the 30s.
Yeah.
Nationally.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, so we're a little better than we're in the 40s.
We were spitballing.
It goes to show you that Maryland's pretty a wealthy state.
There's a lot of rich people in Maryland, man. Where are you guys? Buy a house with me.
Yeah, hit my phone.
Yeah,
Where
man.
you at?
Let's sell your house, man.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, man. So about 67 to 72,000 is the average salary in the state of Maryland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So just to segue into it, okay. So we want to start with what 60K gets you.
So I kind of put some numbers together about a 70K household income.
Okay.
Right? So taking into account whether you're single or if you are married, maybe you and your spouse make together about 70K, or if you're single and you make 70K, this is kind of going to be in line for that particular person. So I'm using estimates on based on an FHA loan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using a FHA loan, putting the minimum down. So this is your typical first-time home buyer, somebody who is only able to afford their minimum down payment, which is a 3.5%.
Yeah,
for
which makes sense for this range. This is like a starter home range.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I kind of have as a purchase power price would be around like 330-ish, being that this is assuming you have no debt. You're able to pretty much afford everything under your income. A monthly payment, just to kind of give an idea on that, would be about $2,750.
Okay.
So you're looking at that being your affordability on a 70K income household, whether it be again single or married with this income.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next question, Renee, I guess would be like for the people at home watching, what can 330 buy somebody? Can I buy a single family with a nice kitchen, with a driveway, with a nice yard, con un basement?
I mean, you can in the state of Maryland, but it depends, you know what I mean, on where you want to be, man.
Yeah.
So the way the DMV is, you know, I guess comprised, made up, it's the hub is DC,
Yeah.
right? And then the suburbs around that, right? And then the further you get away from the city, the less expensive real estate's going to be. The closer you are to the city, in general, the more expensive the real estate's going to be, right? So that's going to depend because a lot of people make their choices of home ownership based on commute, you know, public schools, things like
Work.
that, right? Yeah, work. Yeah, exactly. Commute to work, you know what I mean? Things like that. So let's say we predominantly service all of Maryland, right? Just like Alvin as well. But we predominantly serve, I would say, Montgomery County and Prince George's County, right?
And I do Charles County.
Yeah, Charles County, and I go up to Anne Arundel County in Baltimore,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of the people we're gonna meet with are gonna, you know, try to stay around Montgomery in Prince George's, and usually, you know, because those are the closest counties to the city,
Right.
right. So that's usually how it works. Obviously, you have some nice areas, you know, 40-minute, an hour from the city, right? But usually that's how it's going to work. So what can you find in these areas? Single family homes with driveways and the picket fence? No. You can find them in that range. I mean, people can't send me houses in those areas at that price range, but they need work.
Right.
They're distressed homes.
You're giving up condition for at that price.
Yeah, and then Alvin's going to tell you we can't finance that home because of its condition. You know what I mean? That's what people run into.
Exactly.
So most likely, like we said, it's a starter home range. So we're talking maybe a condominium to start out, or a townhouse, or a townhome condominium, right? And if you have to go for the single family, there's people that said, no, look, I'd rather just not buy.
Right.
Like, I want a single family. Then you're going to start to have, in that price range, we're going to start to have to look in Charles County, in Anne Arundel County.
Yeah.
You know, so it can kind of match up with that budget. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's an idea there.
Yeah, and keep in mind that this monthly budget that we're talking about right now is very typical to the market or the area that we're in, right? Like rent is also starting to look like this too.
Great point.
You know,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, you know, you're looking at a house that whether it be a condo, townhouse, or depending on where you're looking at, maybe a house too, rent is going to be pretty close to that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Like Carlos just listed a 3-bedroom condominium in Greenbelt.
Yeah.
And we try to get one of our buyers to take a look at it. We ask you for numbers.
That's right, yeah.
And I think the monthly, man, I want to say
It was like 26.
I want to say it was at 2,700.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So what I did is I just go on there. I go Greenbelt, Maryland. You know, 3-bedroom apartments, apartment.com. I mean, there's some, like the nicer apartments, that's the price.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's say you get, you know, just a regular, decent apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment at that. You're like more like 24 range, 2,400 range. So that was the sweet spot in the past where, you know, when rates were below a 4 or 5%,
Right.
you could literally say, hey, it's actually cheaper to buy, you know, than to rent. Right now, that might not be the case.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the whole idea, though. I mean, to own something, right, for an extra, it's not a big gap either, though. You know what I mean? We're talking an extra $100 to $300 a month,
Right.
and you can own as opposed to buy. You know what I mean? I was rent. I'm sorry.
For me, it never makes sense for me to, like, when people, if you can afford 330, right? Mm-hmm. Let's explore everything that's in that category, that's in that, you know, budget. And maybe, yeah, sure, you were hoping for a single family with the white picket fence, but it's just that's just not achievable at the moment.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you should walk away from buying something.
You shouldn't.
You're in the long run, you're still going to benefit from owning something.
Yes,
You know.
yes.
And I saw a video, and I know you've seen it too. I think you were the one that sent it to me, where the guy was explaining like the whole point of home ownership is not to finish paying it off. It's the what comes in between, what happens in between that.
Yeah.
You know, because that home is over time is going up in value, and all the benefits that you can get from the tax deductions and whatnot, right? Appreciation, all these things that come with home ownership that could set you up to it's a step into something better for the future. Like, I think that's, for me, that's what I want people to understand.
That video was about creating a financial windfall for yourself.
Yeah.
And how could you do that? Saving, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a mortgage, forces you to save in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're paying off a debt.
Yeah.
I understand a lot of people look at it, it's a 30-year commitment. I mean, nobody says you have to stay there all 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's saying that, right? There's tons of videos on why you should own over rent and all that. In our area, like I said, it's getting to that line where I can understand where, some people, they live in these nice apartments, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like really nice, Starbucks in the lobby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that, right? To leave that, to go pay more, you know what I mean? I get why people are like, it's not the right time.
Come down, to me, that's going to come down to lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle.
Like, if your lifestyle suits more of like apartment living, go for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if you guys sat down with us and did a consultation, right, you would figure out that those $200-$300 more to own that you're like, you're worried, you're stressing about, you're probably going to get that just in the tax benefits alone.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yes. Just off of one benefit, you'll make up that gap. You don't see it right now because right now you rent. And that doesn't go on your taxes. Right. You see what I'm saying? But when you own, they're gonna ask you, did you own? And you're gonna get some credit back. You're gonna get some money back based on the interest you paid on your loan throughout the year.
Yeah, homeownership is more of like delayed gratification.
Yeah, man. So like those $200-$300 you're worried about, it's gonna be $300 more. Yeah. You're gonna get that back just in the tax benefit alone.
Like you say, you don't see it up front, but you will see it.
Yeah. And that's something I'm saying that a lot of renters don't even think about because why would they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've never put it on their taxes. There's no benefit to renting. You know what I mean? So they don't look at it that way. But so that's that range, right?
Yeah. So $330,000 purchase price would put you at around a $2,700 monthly payment. What that would buy you, it would depend on the areas, right? Because like Renee said, what $330,000 buys you, let's say in PG in Montgomery County, that wouldn't work for a single family.
No, single family has not.
Exactly.
They just don't exist. Like
they don't.
Yeah.
Not at this time. Back a couple years.
A couple years ago. Yeah.
But no, it wouldn't. Yeah. So then maybe if you're somebody within that scenario, then you should probably explore like a townhouse, a condo.
I know what's gonna happen, Carlos. Someone's gonna hit me up and say, hey, look at this house in Prince George's County for $300,000. I'm gonna say, okay, do you see where it says cash only?
Yeah.
I need to have all the money. Yeah.
Auction.
Auction. Bid. Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Because people don't really pay attention to those. They oversee those things because they're just
the price.
They just look at the
single
price.
family price.
They look at the price and they look at the house. Yeah. Maybe it looks nice. Maybe they see that it needs a little work and they're like, I could do that.
Yeah.
But they don't look at the.
Or usually those houses don't even have pictures of the interior.
Yeah.
They're just looking at an exterior picture, price, location. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
So talk about a little bit of what when people are home shopping or home searching on all these apps, what are some of the things or details that they should pay attention to?
Yeah, that. I mean, usually in the description, agents will tell you up front, like, hey, look, this is it'll say investor alert.
Yeah,
that's not you, Mr. First Time Home Buyer. Not necessarily. Usually, that's not going to be you. You need something that's ready to go that the bank is going to say, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? We can finance that, right? When you talk about distressed homes and repairs, I mean, can we pull it off? Yeah, Alvin has products where you can buy a distressed home as a first-time home buyer. Yeah, sure. They're a little more complex. You know what I mean? A lot more goes into it. But typically when you're going to see a home priced like that in the counties we're talking about, they need some work. You know what I mean? It's going to be for an investor to come in with cash or hard money. You know what I mean? Definitely some kind of non-traditional financing. You know what I mean? If they're going to do it with finance.
So the different types of properties you'll see on these websites, these home search apps. You got
auction homes.
You got REOs, foreclosures, short sales, probate sales. Yeah. So all these things, estate sales. So all these different things, right? The ones that are financeable are going to be the standard sales.
Yeah.
It's fee simple,
Yeah.
like, you know, and those are the ones that don't come with all these complications. So those are some of the things that people should pay attention to. Always read the description, like Renee said.
Yeah.
They'll typically tell you right up front.
Yeah.
You know, this is investor only or cash only or whatever the case may be.
And if it's too good to be true, it's because it probably is. You know what I mean? So so what's the next range? Let's say I'm not a first time home buyer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I
Now
wanna
we're on to
upgrade
Carlos. I got a career, like I'm making.
I got the bag.
Yeah, I got that. I got to that bag, you know. So I'm making $120,000 a year.
Yeah, that could be like Alvin said originally. That could be a household comprised of 1, 2, 3 people. You know, or that could be just one person that makes that money.
Yeah, maybe you're somebody in tech. I know people in tech make money.
Yeah,
So
I hear you.
if you're in tech, hit me up.
Yeah,
know?
we were just talking about how, I mean, this state itself is wealthy, so that's something that's very common. To see, you know, so people are in different professions in DC, and you know they're making that money.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show. Though. It's just a special area, man.
Yeah.
Because some areas like the economy is going to rely on certain. Maybe it's a tech hub or a medical. This area like has everything. Like the government's here, tech is here, finance is here. You know what I mean? Medical is here. Very, very diverse area, man.
Some big ballers around
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. So to kind of stick to that price range, 120. And keep in mind, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I'm using a payment with everything included, right? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Yeah, we're giving you a
right?
total payment.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you total payment.
And like you said, right, this is also somebody with minimal debt, right?
Minimum down payment and no debt. You know, assuming that that's what the situation is. So 120. I mean, a household of 120. Again, we're going to state it could either be someone single or a household where it comprises of one or more people. So we're looking at a total of about 550 being your purchase price. 550,000 approximately.
Yeah.
Going in with a minimum down to the 3.5%. That puts someone at about a payment of about $4,400. So ideally, that would be you know, again with everything included. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and PMI. So that's what a payment would look like. Someone going in with the minimum down.
Okay.
Now we're talking. Now we're really talking. You know, that opens up a lot of options.
Oh, 550. I mean, the whole state's open up to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not certain parts. You know what I mean? But the whole state pretty much. You know, at that price range in Montgomery County and Prince George's County, you most likely will find a single family home. What you're gonna find though, it depends where in these counties, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna determine whether you're gonna get the single family home, but are you gonna get one that's fully renovated, or are you gonna get one that needs some work? You know what I mean? Size is going to matter a lot there too, you know, for 550, depending on where in the county you are. This could be, you know, 1,000 square foot home, or this could be a, you know, 2,500 square foot home, right? So it's going to depend, but you could definitely do that. You could probably do new build townhome, you know what I mean? Almost anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, in these counties, right? Almost anywhere. You can definitely do a condo, you know. Once you talk condos in the 3s, 4s, 5s, you're talking about some nice condos, you know what I mean? So it all depends. Like you said, it comes down to lifestyle as well. But yeah, that pretty much opens it up. Right there, it's just going to be a matter of preference. Like I said, condition, size. Yeah, but you won't be so limited by the budget then.
Yeah, at that price point, and this is what we'll see when we get higher in budget, is it opens up it opens you up to more, being a little bit more picky, to say, like you're able
demanding.
to demand, because you have more options. You can pick where you want to be, like determine like certain areas. Okay, you can shorten your commute. You can be around certain amenities.
Yeah,
it just opens up a wide range of things for somebody that's in this budget.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like Alvin and I, we met with a couple the other day, and they were approved like 700 something, but they, you know, but monthly wise, they wanted to be in a budget that puts them around 500.
There you go.
You know, so, and they wanted to be, they're in Howard now, right? Howard County, and they want to stay around there because of the schools are excellent around there. But they're also open to like the Anne Arundel area, right? So then basically the conclusion we came to is, hey, you could go at that budget that you want to pay, you could go for a single family home, but in the areas that they wanted, those single family homes are going to need some work.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not talking major renovation. We're talking cosmetic stuff, but yet, you know, once it's a 2,000, like a 3,000 square foot home, 25. Paint starts adding up, flooring starts adding up. You know what I mean? So. But those, you could find it like that where it needs just, a little love, right?
Yeah, some TLC.
Yeah, but then we switched over to the townhomes and they were like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? In that same price range, the townhomes are gorgeous, what I mean? Immaculate. Another thing would be, something we don't really bring up is the age of the home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is really important to some people. So in that range for single families, you're talking about homes that were built 50s, 60s, right? And for the same price, you're talking townhomes that were built probably like 2014 and newer, you know what I'm saying? So it all depends, man. But yeah, at that budget, your options get opened up.
I was just telling Renee Alvin that I have a cash buyer, and she's from Atlanta. She's selling a home in Atlanta. She's a travel nurse, so she's coming down here to Silver Spring area, and she said she wants to buy something, and the parameter she gave me, she said I want something at least 3+ bedrooms, over 2,000 square feet, 3+ baths, and she said nothing older than 2,000, So she was like, don't send me houses from the 90s and the 80s. She was just like, don't.
Yeah.
And and I was, because she was a referral for me. So I asked her, I was like, so how will you be financing? And she was just like,
cash money.
Cash.
Yeah. Say less.
I'm there. So like Renee said, I showed her what's on the MLS, and then also I was like, let me show her what some new construction would get her, because everything, she can pick what she wants.
Yeah.
I sent her some, and she was like, yes.
New construction townhome.
New construction townhome.
Yeah, exactly.
She loved the build. She loved the design of it, everything, and she was just gonna place an order.
The designs now on these townhomes are very nice. Like they come in 4 levels.
Yeah. Some of these townhomes. That's what I'm saying. Once you start getting into this 550, 600 range for townhomes, you're looking at some nice.
Yeah, I went to go check out some
nice areas too.
Yeah, I went to go check out some in Hyattsville. 4 stories. And the top floor is like a terrace.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Amazing. I was like,
was that like mid-5s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid-5s, close to 6. So the way they do it is if they give you the option. So if you want to be in the mid-5s, you can give up the terrace, and it'll be 3 floors. And the attic will just be unfinished.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But if you want the full blown package, probably like 600.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about customizing a new home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you could
do it your way.
Yeah. So let's say your baller status. Like, what's the next range?
Oh, if you really balling like that, you got it. 200K household income, or if you're making that by yourself,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people are
big balling. Okay.
So I did some numbers on this too. So for the purposes of the example, and just to kind of stick to the conforming limits and all that, I used an example of about a $700,000 purchase price. So we're sticking to the conforming. So if you're making that kind of money, of course that's great. You could probably even afford more, but then you go into different type of programs and different territories. But we'll stick to this one. So an FHA 700K, you're looking at about $5,500 on a monthly. So that, I mean, it's a little bit more, obviously, but I mean that's a completely different house.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that somebody that's at this level making 200K, you said $5,500 a month won't be too much on their burden on them.
Right.
In terms of everything they have going on.
Yeah, they're making enough at 200K. They're making plenty to to cover a mortgage at that amount.
Yeah, I'd imagine
with a lot of leftovers.
Well, I'm thinking they're driving in a good car. They got.
Hey, look, this is what we find out. We've been doing this for a while now. We find out that like when Alvin gives you a pre-approval, it's based on what's in black and white, right? Your debts, your liabilities, your assets, everything in black and white. But like we were just talking, like the couple we were sitting down with, she was like, they got approved for 7 something, but they're like, oh no, we can't do those prices because they know their budget,
right.
Because that doesn't include, like she was saying, ballet classes, football classes, like all these obligations that are outside of your credit report, right? Yeah. And that's why it's important to sit down with a loan officer and a realtor and really understand your budget. Yeah, they told you $800,000, but can you really carry that debt on a monthly basis? You know what I mean? Like so So that's what we find with buyers, right? And that's why we don't really base it on, oh, okay, well, how much, like, what price is the house you want? I base it on, hey, look, what's the monthly you're looking at? Because in my opinion, when you're financing something, that's really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to make you move forward, or readjust your position. I think so, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
much,
100%.
Based on your personal budget.
I think that's
right?
a lot of things that it get overlooked initially.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's somebody who has kids,
Yeah, that's a big one.
like
right?
if, like you say, ballet classes, sports,
Yeah.
extracurricular activity, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So all those things add up, because ballet classes, and they're not cheap.
Quick. No, and then like your electric bill is not going to be like my electric bill that I'm a single guy,
Right.
and you have a family with 3 that like that's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah, like we both pay an electric bill, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So all those things, all these are factors like your gas bill, your internet bill. That's not on your credit report.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or at least Alvin's not going to use it. Right? You don't use that. Yeah.
No, you don't use utilities.
Yeah, just the obligations that you have on your credit report.
Yeah.
Credit cards, loans, things like that.
Yeah, and also another thing that people overlook is, they kind of overlook is the maintenance costs of owning a home, right?
Yeah, there's another
that
thing.
come with it, because things have an expiration date, lifespan.
Yeah.
Eventually, your trash. What do they call it?
The compactor or the disposal?
Yeah,
the disposal.
Yeah, that go out, or like something goes wrong with your fridge, or like.
That sucks.
Yeah, or as soon as your home warranty expires, your HVAC goes out.
Yeah,
whatever the case may be. So all these things. So the don't overlook the cost of it takes to own a home.
Yeah,
This is why also it is recommended to get a home inspection.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. That won't happen with us though. We always tell you to get a home inspection.
Yes.
Facts.
Yeah.
So where can I buy in Maryland with $700,000?
Oh yeah, the world is your oyster at that point.
Yeah, at that point it's just preference.
Yeah.
All preferences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna pretty much buy in the area you want to buy. I would think. I mean, realistically, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's pockets of Maryland where
you're not buying with $700,000. Like
that's not
homes at that price don't even exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like any other place, right?
Yeah.
But on average, $700,000. I mean, that's gonna put you in new build territory, even for single family.
Yeah.
Now, new build in these areas probably not. Like not in the 2 counties I said. Prince George's, Montgomery. New build townhome, yes. New build single family, probably not.
Yeah.
But you can get new build single family probably within 30 minutes of here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
The point is that at that price range, you have a lot of options to you, and I feel like in that it's gonna come down to what your goals are. What are you trying to accomplish, right? Are you somebody that you got to sit down and talk details with your realtor or with the lender what you're trying to accomplish, because you may be boxing yourself in or limiting yourself as to what's available to you, or maybe because you're not aware of all the options that you have at that price range. That's why it's important to sit down with a lender, because the lender and the realtor will be able to tell you, hey, you have all these other options that you weren't even aware of.
Yeah.
And that could fit what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
And just a quick point. So for the ranges that we were talking about, like the 70, the 120, well, even 200, because we saw the other day that the limit in Montgomery and Prince George is 210, right? For I was getting to the point if you're going to use some kind of down payment assistance.
Down payment assistance.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that's a good topic and a good point you mentioned. So as a first time buyer, of course, you get your benefits of having these down payment assistance programs help you out with the cost of down payment and closing costs. So it depends on the program we're looking at. But yes, these programs do have their own restrictions and requirements. So for example, income limits are going to be a factor, and it also depends on the county as well. So different counties have their own income limits with in the state of Maryland with this program. So yes, Montgomery County, I believe, for a household of 3 or more, I want to say off the top of my head is like around 210, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and then because household size is also a factor in these. So 1 to 2, I want to say it was like at 160, if I'm not mistaken. Again, don't quote me on that. I'd have to have it in front of me to tell you, but it's around there. So these annual income limits, they get updated by the state every year. So they do refresh these, and I believe last year was like at 170 or something.
So just be mindful for the programs, system programs. If you make a lot of money, they're gonna look at you like you don't need the help.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it depends, and you can find out. You know, like Alvin said, depending on where you want to live, the limits are different. You know
Correct.
what I mean?
Correct. Yeah, but there are options. You know, so obviously, if you know you fall in under these limits, you know, and you're a first time buyer, then yes, you have these options to help you out with down payment costs.
And Alvin, costs. just for the people who where can they find this information at? Besides reaching out to you, of course, which would be the number one way.
Right.
But if somebody wants to go in depth and do their due diligence and check online, where can they go?
Yeah, a simple Google search of Maryland down payment assistance programs, that would probably be the best start. You know, so
it's called the Maryland Mortgage Program, right?
It's
specifically that one.
Correct. Yeah, specifically that one. Yes, Maryland Mortgage Program would be the program that you would want to look at because that covers pretty much the entire state of Maryland. They have different programs specific to maybe a certain county. I know they have a $25,000 down payment assistance program.
They also have one for students, correct?
Correct. Yes.
It's called the Smart Buy 3.0 or something. I was reading about it today.
Excellent, man.
Yeah,
I haven't had the chance to use it yet.
I was reading a little bit about it this morning because I saw a video on it. The guy was talking about it. They pay off. Last year I believe they covered $30,000 of student debt. This year I believe it's $20,000.
Up
to $20,000.
Yeah.
So if somebody like this is what I'm talking about, right? Because it all depends on your situation.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to meet and talk to the right people. And you're not to commit to anything. It's just for research purposes, for you to get informed. That way you can make a decision that you'll be happy with.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so we broke down affordability. Like I said, at the lower range, let's say you're renting a 3-bedroom apartment right now, it'll probably just cost you another extra $200, depending, right? But probably like $250 to own.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you sit down with a lender or realtor, if they can just break down the tax benefits, that alone will cover that little difference that you were talking about. So, you know, look into it. Don't limit yourself. You know, and then in the next range, we're talking about 120. That's about 120 in income, 550 approval. Yeah, you're gonna get a nice home, man. That's either you're upgrading from the condo or the townhouse, or you know, usually, and this is gonna be 2 people that you know they're gonna get together and make about 120 each. Yeah, and then you can afford that home, like your first home, you know, with someone else or something like that, right? Yeah, and then you got at the 200 and then 700K. I mean, the sky's the limit, basically.
Yeah,
you know,
at that point. Yeah,
yeah. Unless you're super picky, if you can't find a house for 700,000, like, you know what I mean, you're probably pretty picky. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add.
I mean, I would just, you know, as a conclusion statement, I mean, definitely don't think that homeownership is unattainable.
Yeah,
you know, definitely.
That's a very good point.
You know, I would. The very first thing is get together with a professional, a realtor, lender. You know, one of us, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and find out what your affordability is, right? Find out what you are able to get.
Yeah.
You know, sit down with that person.
Yeah.
Find out, you know, what's your budget look like, what kind of house you can afford, and if these options, you know, will be something you can look at.
Don't base your situation off a relative, friend, whatever. That's a lot of people do that. We talk to a lot of people on the phone, and they tend to after speaking with them for a while, we kind of hear that they're disqualifying themselves, like from before even talking to a professional.
Yeah.
Don't do that, right? Because your situation is not like the next person, not like your family member, whatever the case may be. In the long run, it's always better to own something if you can. Maybe you're just not ready yet, but you won't know if you don't talk to the right people.
That's correct.
The whole point is to get on track, right? And then it's just up to you what you decide to do with that information. Renee, close us off.
Close us off? All right, man. So it was a good episode. Affordability, like we said, is definitely a topic. Yeah, and like you guys said, like, you know, don't count yourself out. Like, find out.
Yeah.
You know, like that. The cool thing about real estate is finding out is free. You know what I mean? Finding out is free, man. So just reach out to professionals. This is the reason the numbers we spoke are in ranges and estimates, because there's no way to tell unless they specifically check your stuff. It's not a one size fits all in real estate. That's why Carlos is telling you, hey, don't necessarily listen to their advice. Like, their advice could have been a little different. Maybe, you know, their type of employment, you know, they have helped them out. Or, you know, maybe it was a little more expensive for them because maybe their credit score was a little lower.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You just never know. So you can't compare yourself to someone else's situation. It's not a one size fits all. So yeah, get the information and, you know, come up with a strategy to buy, man, because even if it's more right now than renting, it still makes sense in the long run, like you guys said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just like to touch on, and I'll end it on this, to touch on what Alvin said is people think that it's not affordable.
Yes.
And it still is.
Yeah.
Even at the interest rate being what it is now, you can still achieve home ownership if you want to. But it's just that all this fear mongering that's going on on the internet is like it's like, no, it's the sky is falling. No, it's not. You know,
people still buying homes.
People are still buying.
People are still buying and selling homes. So
what does Ricky Caruth say?
People buy and sell homes every day.
Exactly.
Just you just weren't part of it or still.
Exactly. So don't count yourself out. Talk to the right people. Hit us up if you're in Maryland, DC, or Virginia. You know, we do business, the whole DMV.
DMV. Albinito, thank you for stopping by, man.
Absolutely.
Alvin,
Appreciate you taking the time breaking down those numbers and stuff, man. Hopefully the people can relate out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Hopefully it doesn't take us longer to get you on the podcast again. Since November.
We got to fact check.
We got to fact check. It feels like a long time to me.
All right, guys.
We'll be back.
Well, this was another episode of the People's Real Estate Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. And have you bought a home? What's stopping you? If you haven't, let us know down in the comments. Until next time, take it easy.